Be very careful messing with the electric. It can hurt you. In all seriousness though, take all precaution. It is something that can unalive you, and it will hurt the entire time you're being unalived. Here is where power comes into my board. One step you should never ever skip before you ever touch anything that has power on it, could have power on it, has had power on it, or might have power on it. Make sure there's no power on it. Now, will you ever get shocked in this field? Yes. Yeah, you're going to get shocked. At some point, if you stick with it long enough, you're going to touch something you shouldn't. No one forgets their first time. Fun fact, though, people with red hair are less sensitive to electrical shock. Is that true for some of you? I don't have red hair, but I have a red tint in my mustache and my beard. And I'm less sensitive than most of the technicians that I've worked with. I can't feel 24 volts unless I'm like really, really sweaty, and then it's just a tingle. 110 volts doesn't feel good, but doesn't hurt. And experiences with electric fences, that may be a story for another time. In this case, my power cord here is just one continuous power cord, standard 110 volt wall outlet. Alright, for educational purposes, I have plugged it in. Now these meters are sensitive. You'll see I'm reading millivolts, the little M under there, so it's just reading static through the air. If I test from there to there, I have 124 volts. So that means one of those could hurt me if I decide to touch it. Now I have my panel grounded. So now I would always make it a habit of testing from ground to both legs. And the reason I say that, if you're working with a 2-pole, 240 volt system, if you go from L1 to L2, it may not read voltage, but there could be voltage. You could be missing a leg of power. I'm going to try to explain that without confusing you here. If this was a 240 volt motor and it was plugged straight into each one of those L1 and L2, if from the breaker panel we were missing a leg of power, the one leg of power that would be coming in would go through that wire to this motor. This motor is nothing but one continuous wire that has been wrapped around these coils. And after it's done wrapping around the coils, it comes right back out and goes to the other leg. So if we're missing this leg of power, power can come in here, go through all those windings, come back out here, over to here. That's why I say for your protection, you should always measure from ground to each individual leg for your protection. That is the only way you're going to be 100% sure you have no power on that circuit. Now, if your meter has a built-in non-contact voltage detector, that little piece right there, you can press that and go to it. And that's your sign there is power present on that line. But another word of caution, if you're going to use that non-contact voltage, test it on something you know has power. Some people use these type. But again, to protect yourself, test it against a known working power source to make sure it's working. Your safety is and should always be priority number one. I know for a lot of you that's not going to be very helpful because you're advanced beyond that, but it may be something that your helpers and apprentices could get great use of. But it may help you give a different perspective or a different way to bring it to them. A valuable technician is one who can repair almost anything he comes across, but a more valuable technician is one who can make more valuable technicians. Help the young ones is going to help you in the long run. And remember, y'all be safe out there.